All right, we're about to dig into a story that, let's be honest, you've probably known since you were a kid. But I promise you, hidden inside this simple fable are some incredibly powerful, totally modern lessons about trust, about reputation, and really about the massive weight our words actually carry. This single line from thousands of years ago is pretty much the key to this whole thing. It unlocks this massive idea of credibility, which is one of the most important and maybe one of the most fragile assets any of us will ever have. So we all think we know the story, right? But the real power is in the details, in the step-by-step. Let's just do a quick walkthrough of exactly how this whole thing went down and see how this timeless warning got built.
Look, this isn't just some children's story. It's a perfect, almost scientific breakdown of how social trust works, how it's built, and more importantly, how fast it can just be completely demolished. Every single step here, from the kid's boredom to the final consequence, it's a crystal clear lesson in cause and effect.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. It's when we stop thinking of these as just characters in a book and start seeing them as archetypes. Roles that we see played out all around us, and sometimes even by us. In this table just illustrates that delicate balance so well. You've got the individual, the boy, who's just bored and wants to poke the system. Then you have society, the villagers, who literally depend on truth to stay safe and function. And then there's the wolf, reality. And reality doesn't care about your jokes. It doesn't care about your intentions. It just shows up. So all of this is building up to the fable's real lesson, which, let's face it, isn't really about wolves at all. It's about a type of currency that's way more valuable than money: credibility. This is such a critical point. The lie wasn't just a harmless little prank that was over in a minute. No, it was a profound act of self-sabotage. He didn't realize it, but with every single false alarm, he was slowly turning down the volume on his own voice until finally nobody could hear him at all. He muted himself. I absolutely love this definition. Think about it like this. Every time you're honest, especially when it's about something small, you're paying a premium into your own credibility insurance policy. You're just building up this huge reserve so that when a massive, life-altering crisis hits, you're totally covered. People will be there for you. And this is the real gut punch of the story, isn't it? The boy's credibility account was completely empty. He went to make the single most important withdrawal of his entire life, and the balance was just zero. Okay, so all of this can feel a little distant, right? Shepherds, villages, wolves. But this exact same dynamic, I promise you, it plays out every single day in our modern world. Let's look at a few examples you might recognize. We've all seen this, right? The friend who has a complete and total meltdown every week over something pretty minor. At first, you rush to help. You're concerned. But after a while, you get desensitized. And the real danger is that when an actual 5-alarm fire happens in their life, everyone around them just assumes it's another drill. This happens in relationships all the time. Using an extreme threat like, "That's it, I'm leaving," just to win a small argument, well, that's crying wolf. And if you do it enough, the one day you actually mean it, the words have lost all their power. They've just become meaningless noise. And in the business world, oh yeah, it's everywhere. If every single little update your company releases is game-changing and revolutionary, then guess what? None of them are. Your customers, who are basically the modern villagers, they just learn to tune you out. So when you finally create something that's genuinely incredible, your announcement gets lost in all the hype you already created. And this brings the whole lesson right back home to us. It's a tough question, but it's a really important one. Where are we spending our own credibility? Are we using extreme language for small things, slowly draining our own account, just for a quick hit of attention? Okay, so we get the danger. We know how serious it is to lose credibility. So what do we do about it? How do we actively protect this thing? How do we become the kind of person whose voice is actually heard and trusted when it matters most? These takeaways are just so powerful. It's so easy to blame the villagers for not helping. But they weren't being mean. They were being rational. They were protecting their own time and safety from someone who had proven he couldn't be trusted. The boy's real loss happened with that very first lie, not with the final wolf attack.
So this isn't just theory, right? We can actually turn this into a practical guide. Each one of these steps is like a daily practice for building an unshakable reputation. And I gotta say, that last one is particularly powerful. Do not cry wolf unless you see his teeth. It's just a stark, perfect reminder to make sure the intensity of your words actually matches the reality of the situation.
And in the end, this might be the most haunting part of the entire story. The real horror isn't the sound of the wolf howling or the attack. It's the profound, absolute, deafening silence from the village in the boy's moment of greatest terror. A silence that he himself created.
And that really brings us to the core of it all. The wolf isn't actually the biggest threat in this story. The real danger, the one we all have to watch out for, is our own failure to value our word. So guard your credibility like it's the most precious thing you own. Protect your honesty. And always be asking yourself, when you speak, will the world have every reason to listen?